This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News 9. English news as it should be.
After Tamil Nadu, now Karnataka governor has refused to address the joint state assembly session on January 22nd. High-level delegation led by Karnataka's law minister rushes to meet the governor Thawarchand Gehlot in the Lok Bhavan. New twist in Ahmedabad plane crash case. An explosive US Senate whistleblower submission alleges Boeing 787 that crashed in Air India Flight 171 suffered years of hidden electrical defects, including a major onboard fire. Forensic team undertakes investigation into techie Yuvraj Mehta's death after drowning in waterlogged ditch in Greater Noida. IAF microlight aircraft crashes into a pond in Prayagraj after suspected engine failure. Both on-board pilots safe. IAF orders court of inquiry to probe the cause of the crash. Days after a man died by suicide in Kerala after a video accusing him of harassment went viral, the YouTuber who recorded that video and leveled harassment allegations against him has now been arrested, sent to 14-day judicial custody. US President Donald Trump lands in Zurich ahead of a speech at the World Economic Forum in Davos. All right, we have some big news coming in from Karnataka. It seems like a pattern of standoffs between southern state governors and legislatures now emerging. In fact, after Tamil Nadu, now Karnataka is seeing the governor facing off with its government. Here you have Karnataka Governor Thawarchand Gehlot, who's refused to address the joint session of the legislature scheduled from January 22nd. The session was to feature a special discussion on the repeal of the Manrega bill, which is now replaced by the newly enacted VB G Act 2025. A high-level delegation led by Parliamentary Affairs Minister H.K. Patil has rushed to the Lok Bhavan for urgent talks with the governor now. This is not an isolated case in the south. Well, a day ago we saw in Tamil Nadu R.N. Ravi walking out of the assembly because the national anthem wasn't played. Instead, the state anthem was played. He refused to even initiate his speech. Now, in Kerala too, witnessed similar standoff. With the governor of Kerala as well, constantly clashing with the government. Here in Karnataka, looking like a similar pattern, where Thawarchand Gehlot now refusing to inaugurate the special session of the assembly tomorrow. In fact, remember, we're looking at multiple face-offs that southern governors have had with the governments. That includes Tamil Nadu and Kerala. And now in the latest, we're looking at here Thawarchand Gehlot in Karnataka refusing to be part of a special session of the assembly. And here he has his reasons. Remember, in Kerala as well, Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan had said that Governor Rajendra Vishwanath Arlekar did not read the full cabinet-approved policy address. Key paragraphs on fiscal stress due to union government actions and pending bills were skipped. The Kerala Chief Minister Vijayan had to urge the Speaker to record the official cabinet-approved version. Similar thing happened with Tamil Nadu as well, where R.N. Ravi insisted that the national anthem be sung first, while the Speaker said tradition calls for the state anthem, Tamil Thai Vastu, to open the proceedings. The Assembly later passed a resolution stating the governor had read the speech and only the government-provided version would be recorded. Well, here now you have yet another one coming from Karnataka. And Thawarchand Gehlot, the Karnataka governor, has now decided not to be part of the special session initiated by the government. He was to be part of it, inaugurate it, was to feature a special discussion. The session was to feature a special discussion on the repeal of Manrega which has now been replaced by newly enacted VB G Act 2025. So he's refused to now inaugurate that session. It seems like a pattern. All southern states facing a similar rebellious governor. Well, now in Karnataka, they're trying to convince the governor at this point, but we've got to see if Tawarchand Gehlot will come around. Let me bring in our correspondent joining us on the ground there in Bengaluru, Mohammad Wajiullah, joining us for more on that. Waji, go on. Tell us a little more as to why exactly has Tawarchand Gehlot decided not to inaugurate the special session or attend it tomorrow altogether. He's boycotted it.
Well, the special session was called to counter the central government's position with regards to Manrega when they've done the name change of Manrega and called it G. So the entire session was conceived in the cabinet meeting with regards to why this is not something right, and that is why a special session was called. And now the governor, just like what happened in Tamil Nadu, has also gone on to have decided that he will not read out the speech that has been given by the government of Karnataka. Now, when a governor decides that he does not read the speech, he is going against his own constitutional duty. As we all know, the position of the governor is a ceremonial position. It's a ceremonial device, and the governor is mandated. It's his mandatory job to read out the speech that is handed over to him by the government of the state, irrespective of the fact whether he has a problem with the text of it. Now, Tawarchand Gehlot is what we believe to have said that this session looks like that it is against the center, and that is why it is. He has said that there is this refusal to speak or to use that as a speech. Now we'll have to wait and watch what the Law Minister H.K. Patil and other ministers who have now gone to Tawarchand Gehlot's residence at the Raj Bhavan. They had gone at 5:45, and in a few minutes we'll get to know what decision will be taken, whether the government continue to not give this speech, or will the government be able to convince him, because it is now as per the Article 176(1), the Constitution of India mandates the governor to address the Legislative Assembly, and it is and if he doesn't do it, it is against his he's rejecting his constitutional duty, because this had happened in 1996 in West Bengal Assembly, Abdul Ghaffur Habibullah versus the Speaker of West Bengal Assembly. At that point of time also, the court had maintained that the governor cannot decline to deliver the speech. If he has a problem with the speech, he can express that and he can convey that to the government. But if he denies giving a speech, that is going against his constitutional duty. So now we'll have to wait and watch what turns out of this meeting that is going to take place in a few minutes from now.
Well, you know, Vaji, we've seen a pattern of this with all southern states. In fact, the latest R.N. Ravi refused to conduct his speech or be part of the proceedings there in the assembly on the first day itself, saying that they were not playing the national anthem, and it's an insult to the national anthem. But it's not as if this happened for the first time. Tamil Nadu always and always, as per tradition, plays the state anthem. So R.N. Ravi there, clearly rebellious, saying that he wanted the national anthem first. He walked out in a tiff, and it seems like right after now, Tawarchand Gehlot showing similar signs of rebellion, not wanting to attend the special session called by the Karnataka government itself on discussing the repeal of Manrega, which has now been replaced by VB G Act. Well, Vaji, we know that the governor is appointed by the centre. Governor is supposed to be bipartisan. But here at this point, we understand that the governor does not want to get into or be part of a debate that that has already been decided, an issue which has already been decided and sealed by the centre. The VB G Act is already now implemented. Now to discuss it, a special session where ideally the opposition, the ruling in Karnataka, but the opposition by and large, the Congress, discussing it in the state, which he believes he does not want to be part of. Has he clearly said it? Do we know if this is precisely the reason? Has an official word come from the governor's office that this is why I will not be attending the special session?
Well, the governor had conveyed this to the chief secretary because it's the chief secretary who hands over the letter or the speech to the governor, and the speech is written by a selective representative of the government with the chief secretary and the ministers in the government. And when this was given to him, the governor informed the chief secretary that there are certain points in the speech that embarrasses the central government, and that is why he's refused. And he believed that this entire session has been called to speak against the center. Now, this itself is denying. This itself is an act where the governor comes across as somebody who is not ready to do his constitutional duty. As I clearly mentioned in the previous thing, that it is mandatory for the government. But if you've seen the history of Karnataka, at least with Tawarchand Gehlot, in the past, though our neighbors have had a problem with their governors, Tawarchand Gehlot has been one of that governor which has gone on and read the speech that has been given to him by the government, has not created the issues that other governors have created, be it in Kerala with Asif Mohammed or with Ravi in Tamil Nadu. But now, after this entire session that was called by the Karnataka government with regards to the entire bill of Manrega being named as G. The governor now has taken his decision, and this is for the first time that we'll be seeing that the governor of Karnataka not doing it. Now we'll have to wait and watch, because a delegation from the government has gone to the Raj Bhavan. What comes out of it, whether they're able to convince him that he will have to take care of the speech or not, we'll have to wait and watch, Nabila.
All right. High-level delegation led by Parliamentary Affairs Minister H.K. Patil has now rushed to the Lok Bhavan to see if he can convince the governor to be part of it. Thanks very much, Vaji. We will very closely be tracking this development in Karnataka. All right, now we have some more news coming in. Let's cut across to explosive revelations that's now come in the Air India Flight 171 tragedy that took place in Ahmedabad in July 2025. A whistleblower submission now before the US Senate is raising grave questions about a possible cover-up. A detailed report submitted to the US Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations alleges that the Boeing 787 Dreamliner had years of hidden electrical failures never disclosed to the public. Submission has directly challenged India's aviation probe. India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, or the AAIB, in its July preliminary report has appeared to shift the blame onto pilots, suggesting that fuel control switches were manually cut off. A narrative, critics say, mirrors the pilot blame playbook seen during the Boeing 737 MAX scandals. The whistleblower group, the Foundation for Aviation Safety, claims non-public documents from Indian and US sources reveal a far more disturbing truth. According to the report, the plane suffered chronic electrical failures, circuit breaker trips, avionics falls, smoke events, power surges, overheating, and wiring damage. Most alarming is, of course, a major onboard fire that happened allegedly in Jan 2022 inside the aircraft's primary power panel, severe enough to scorch wiring and force a complete system replacement. Just months later, the aircraft was grounded again, and this time over landing gear failures requiring replacement of critical electronic modules. And this investigation warns was not an isolated aircraft. The Foundation analyzed more than 2,000 failure reports across the global 787 fleet, covering less than 2% of all Dreamliners worldwide, and says this represents only the tip of the iceberg. Let me bring in our reporter, Sabyasachi, joining us for more on that. Sabyasachi, this is going to be very explosive in terms of probe details that will possibly be factored in while investigation deepens into this case as to what really happened. We're still clueless as to why and how that plane crashed. There were hints, initial reports which were not supposed to be leaked suggested that our Indian pilots, seasoned pilots, were at fault. But here a whistleblower saying something that we all always doubted, that there could be a technical failure in that flight.
Well, that's right. This whistleblower who have conducted a very intensive report in the crash of Boeing 787. Now, as per the preliminary report which was submitted by the AAIB, now in that preliminary report, straight away the blame has gone to the pilot, where one of the pilots says that why is the fuel control switch turned off? Now, the other pilot says that I didn't turn it off. Now, when you turn off the fuel control switch, the fuel does not reach to both the engines. Now, this particular revelation has come out in the preliminary report. Now, we are all waiting for the detailed report as far as AIB is concerned. Now, the whistleblower has done a thorough investigation on this air crash, and they have submitted a report to the US. Now, in this report, what they have said, now they have said that very specific airline have serious electrical problems for years. Starting this particular airline in which the crash happened, they say electrical failures, circuit breakers tripping, software faults, smoke and fumes, burnt wiring, loss of power, and an actual fire incident had happened in the year 2022. Now, why is the fire incident important? Now, the investigation report says that the fire happened in critical power panel that supplies power to important systems. Now, the damage was so bad that the entire panel has to be replaced. Now, the electrical failures like this can cause confusing cockpit warnings or unintended system behavior. Now, the whistleblower also suggests that the hidden power defects may have caused the plane to behave unpredictably. These defects could have led to the fuel being shut off automatically or mistakenly, not intentionally by a pilot. Now, this concern by the whistleblower, they say that the investigators like the AAIB, which is investigating the entire crash, may be ignoring this history of this particular aircraft. So, massive details have been put out by the whistleblower, which says that they need to do the investigation thoroughly. The history of the aircraft need to look after, and what in the investigation has come so far, where the AIB in their initial findings have said that the fuel control switch was turned off, and they release some audio which directly puts a blame to the pilot, whereas this particular whistleblower clearly does not agree with the investigation that has been done by the AIB so far.
Okay. Well, you know, this in a way almost confirms all those doubts, but this is not something that we can take on face value, is it, Sabyasachi? Do you believe this will be factored in while part of probe? The Indian authorities are still investigating. I'm not too sure what global authorities are looking into, but a whistleblower making these claims, how far will that actually find its way into investigative probe proceedings?
Well, that's a very valid point that you have made, because as far as the Civil Aviation Minister is concerned, he made a point that the investigation is going on the right track, and very soon we will see the entire report, why this incident happened and what exactly caused the air crash. Now, several of the whistleblowers, in fact, they have submitted this report, and this particular whistleblower have submitted this report to the US Senate, and they have demanded that there should be proper investigation. Now, few of the points that they have raised is quite valid. The history of the aircraft particularly had to be looked in, where they have made this allegation that this particular aircraft for more than 10 years have been having severe problems. There was a fire in this particular aircraft back in the year 2022, which could have possibly led to a power failure or technical issues. So these are some of the important points which the AIB definitely would be investigating on, but clearly this particular point, whether the AIB has been doing the investigation properly, this particular point also has been raised by several pilot association across the country, and even by the family members of the pilot, where they have said that the AIB have not done the complete investigation, but all they have done is blamed the pilot for the crash. So there are a lot of questions that answer is needed, but we'll get all the answers once the investigation is completed.
All right. Thanks very much, Sabyasachi, for joining us. All right. Let me take you through news coming in on Donald Trump, who's landed in Zurich. US President Donald Trump has boarded a chopper and taken off to Davos for the World Economic Forum. As we speak, viewers, Donald Trump is en route to Davos. According to a senior White House officials, US President Donald Trump will be discussing his America First based economic policies at the World Economic Forum in just a few hours from now. The talk will be about foreign policy and Trump style. Trump may touch on issues involving Greenland and Venezuela, the contentious issues that have resulted in massive protests in Greenland at this point. And also, he has planned a board of peace and hemispheric domination, the official said. In fact, all of that will probably be presented by Trump himself. We've got to wait and watch what will feature in his speech, but this is what is expected by and large. The US President landed in Zurich early Wednesday and will proceed to Davos. It's going to be very interesting to see what Donald Trump will say and what will feature in his speech. But the US President, his presence there comes as also India and US negotiate a new trade framework. Trump's Davos visit is set against all the rising geopolitical tensions and all the US tariffs that they've slapped on multiple countries, on European countries as well, and the controversy over Greenland push that's currently snowballing. Remember, this is the second year of Trump in power, and while he steps into year 2, you have American citizens out on the streets protesting against his leadership, and never have we seen in the last few decades American citizens outrightly coming out on the streets protesting their president and his policies. Donald Trump is facing that internal turmoil, externally as well, but he's a man who's forging ahead. Irrespective of what or who says what, he's moving forward with what he wants and what he believes. Kartikeya Sharma, managing editor, joining us live for a little more in detail as to what might feature in Trump's speech. Kartikeya, very interesting speech is expected, Trump style, in just a few hours from now. We hear it was slightly delayed. Could you give us a little more a lowdown as to what you think Trump might touch upon today?
White House tweeted that the speech is going to be America first, which means that the Trump is going to outline the American priority. Now, American priorities, a lot of people would say, is like neo-colonialism. It's like cutting the world into a Chinese melon. Or people would say that the priority or the American priority is nothing but complete dominance of the Western Hemisphere. But keeping that aside, I think in Davos, what people expect is that the Trump is going to talk about why the rule-based order does not suit the interest of the United States of America, something which the United States of America actually created after the World War II. That's number one. And secondly, I think the shockwaves people do think will be in context of Greenland, but my understanding is that the shockwave will be in context of the European Union. You see, the Atlanticism or the relationship of United States of America with Western Europe was supposed to be very organic, umbilical, because America is a settler state. The primary migration of the early Americans was from Ireland, Spain, UK, Anglo-Saxon communities, even France, which is a big part in Quebec. So I think that cord is going to get cut. That's number one. Secondly, the world wants to know what will be the position of the American president in the Ukraine war, because that's a Ukrainian affair. Thirdly, the world is also going to see what the president of the United States of America is going to say on China and Russia, because Davos is not only about economy. Now, economy is directly getting interlinked with the American political priorities. You know, what MAGA crowd think is right, what they think is right in terms of people who should come to America. America past 50 years thought that the talent has enriched the American society. The MAGA crowd feels that, you know, these people are taking away the jobs. But the fact of the matter is that the diaspora, which primarily is Indian, from other third world countries, they create intellectual capital, Nabila, for the Americans. That's where the technology boom is happening. That is why, you know, a lot of or most of these CEOs are from the Indian origin communities. Why? Because that's the way American universities have functioned. Fund from the American Congress, from the White House, and you get people, the talent from across the world. Now, all those issues are going to be part and parcel of the American president is going to say. But my understanding is that the Trump is going to give a red line, or I would say a deadline for Europeans to firm up their position on NATO, to firm up their position on the American territorial interest, whether it's Venezuela or Greenland or Canada or the Chagos Island, which Britishers have now decided to give it back to Mozambique, or to any other part of the world. So this is going to be about the American priority, America first, and Trump cares a damn about what the Europeans think about him.
All right, Karthikeya, thanks very much. We're going to very closely track these developments there. Trump-style speech that's to come. Very interesting to see what he's going to be touching upon, and if ever, India will be featuring on that list too. But if I should remind our viewers, there'll be a host of Indian delegates as well. You have nearly 8 CEOs of Indian companies, Tata & Sons, Bharti Enterprises, Wipro, Infosys, CEOs of all of these top companies, owners of these top companies who are going to be part of the Davos meet. So we'll see what's to come on that. A short break, we'll be right back.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News 9. English news as it should be.
Co-powered by Tata Capital, count on us.
Loser.
लाइफ हो या इन्वेस्टिंग, ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस से नुकसान भी हो सकता है। म्यूचुअल फंड अपनाओ और थोड़ी हेवी लिफ्टिंग एक्सपर्ट्स को भी करने दो।
म्यूचुअल फंड निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। योजना से संबंधित सभी दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
पढ़ता है, खेलता है, झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है, आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया।
तेरी एक जिद और फैक्ट्री वर्कर सब डबल।
रिटायर हो जाऊं क्या?
अच्छा, प्रॉपर्टी के अगेंस्ट लोन का आइडिया किसका था? पर बुढ़ापा आ गया हो।
इनकी जिद ने कारोबार भी बढ़ाया और रोजगार भी। टाटा कैपिटल लोन अगेंस्ट प्रॉपर्टी के साथ।
Red Fort explosion. Let's get you all the updates. In the blast, there is a
Let's cut across to some live images coming in of Donald Trump arriving in Davos. All eyes are on that economic summit. In fact, you have a host of Indian delegates and company chiefs that are present there, the Indian representatives of the Indian government as well. So for India, what does this mean? Of course, Donald Trump, whether he's going to be touching upon the tariff issue, India and US is still charting out that shaping a tariff deal, which details of which we still aren't aware. So will he be touching upon that at all? What else will be Trump talking about? Greenland and his claim to that will also be extensively watched out for. He's spoken. He's likely to possibly speak about the tensions in West Asia, the issues that have erupted in Iran. Trump has already very clearly said that he might just interfere if protests are not handled in a more humane manner. He's in fact in a recent interview already said that in response to a reporter's question, he says, "I will blow up Iran if need be. I will blow up Iran." That's precisely the words he said. So Donald Trump there really posing himself as the savior of the world at this point. What he did in Venezuela and what he intends to do in Iran, and at this point his claim on Greenland. And also remember, all of this he says he's doing because he hasn't got the Nobel Prize, the Nobel Peace Prize. So classic Trump-style speech is what is expected. So expect a host of things, including the tariffs that he may be touching upon. Karthikeya is still with us for more on that. Karthikeya, Donald Trump has just landed there in Switzerland amid all those tensions there with the European allies. I've just listed out a few. Tell us a little more. I mean, just in an interview 24 hours ago, he to a US channel has said, I will blow up Iran. That's as plain and simple for what he said when he was asked about Iran and its tensions. He says, I'm willing to blow that country up. Be prepared. So, you know, in your face, Trump, what do you believe he could talk about, touch upon tensions in West Asia? Will he touch upon what's happening in Iran extensively as well?
Oh, absolutely, he can touch upon any issue which he likes. You know, he spoke about he's not getting Nobel Peace Prize. He spoke about the fact that he doesn't care a two hoot about Norway because, you know, despite stopping 8 to 10 wars, you know, he hasn't got the Nobel Peace Prize. So Trump can think anything, Trump can talk about anything, you know, but the Trump has, you know, managed to, you know, he's the president of the strongest country in the world. Imagine this 35-year-old Air Force One had a glitch. He had to go back and then he had to use a military transport plane and he's made it to Davos. So, well, the speech is delayed by 3 hours. So it was supposed to be 7 p.m. India time. Now it's supposed to be 10 p.m. Now he's in Davos another, I would say, 3 hours till he makes his grand appearance. So entire rescheduling has taken place. Earlier, the Meet the Press would have started Indian time at 6:30 p.m. He would have greeted the other world leaders, and 7 p.m. he would have made his speech. You know, world actually is waiting very keenly to know actually what President Trump is going to say. But if you look at his Truth Social handle, if you look at the tweets by White House, if you look at the statement he gave, you know, because he's a prolific interview giver, unlike other heads of states, Nabila, I think Trump is giving 1 interview a week, or maybe 2 interviews a week, and very prolifically, you know, he expresses his thoughts on foreign policy and security issues. So I think it will be around those lines that Donald Trump is going to speak. I don't think it's going to be any different that way. But yes, the world is worried because of Greenland.
Kartikeya, EU chief Ursula von der Leyen has said that Europe is fully prepared to act over Trump's tariff threats. So it seems like Europe at this point coming together as a group to counter Trump, and they're ready and prepared. And the EU chief says it explicitly.
You see, I think Putin and Xi Jinping will be very happy that 2 cousins are fighting. One. Secondly, well, you know, the Europe can levy tariff on the United States of America. But, you know, that's not the real deal. You see, Europe is very, very vulnerable right now. Europe in the last 100 years, of I would say 50, 60 years, have undergone a phase of deindustrialization. Manufacturing has moved out to countries like Thailand, Vietnam, India, Bangladesh, China. So it doesn't have that muscular strength. Imagine Europe without NATO forces. You know, the Russians would run through the entire Europe. Finland, Sweden, Norway, even Germany, they do not have the capacity to stop Russian troops. They don't have the capacity. So there is a limit to the, I would say, European no. There's a limit. So when America says it wants Greenland, I don't think Europe has any stamina to fight America militarily or even economically. You know what will happen if there's a 200% tariff on America? By the time it comes into shape, then Americans will be all over Greenland. You know, they will have the territory. And then, you know, it's very easy. If you look at the European history, they're best at making compromises. You know, the so-called enlightened nations, they compromised with Hitler so that they don't have to go to war with Hitler. There were very few leaders who said, no, we have to stop a bully. You look at the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Which European country has openly declared war on Russia? No one. Now they don't even want to help Ukraine. So that's the truth of the I would say unipolar order, because it's being contested by China and Russia. That's the cold truth. You know, America right now has power. It does not have legitimacy. But in today's world order, I don't think moral heft counts anymore. We are back to the world of the kings. You know, we are back to the world of the lords, where power in itself is the principle. There is no principle plus power, or there is nothing called principled power. Power in itself is the defining principle, that you have the power and you'll have the world on plate, Nabila.
Well, you know, India is also very closely watching. We know we have all the thinkers, the CEOs, the policymakers who are all currently in Davos, really keenly watching out for what's to come there. What do you think India is expecting when it comes to India's tariffs on India? We don't seem to have come to a solution as yet.
I think the pressure on India, if it doesn't grow, it can stay unless and until we have a breakthrough with White House. That's one. Secondly, I would say that we have taken a strong position because no Prime Minister, no politician in this country can open up our agriculture sector. And we have to understand that Indian agriculture is not an industry like American agriculture, where swaths of land is controlled by 4 or 5% of people. Indian agriculture is livelihood, it's culture, it's economy weaved into daily fabric. So if you industrialize Indian agriculture, you will create millions of jobless people. For example, what do these companies do? They sell seeds. But in India, there are people who take seeds. But people keep seeds. So you sow your seeds, there is a crop, and then you have your seeds. You don't have to buy them from the market. So there is an organic level of connection between a man and the land, which does not exist in America because of big pharmaceutical and the gene companies. In 2022, I was in Ohio, and I had gone to it was part of an exchange program between Ministry of Agriculture there and Ministry of Agriculture in America. I mean to say, you don't have people farming, you have tractors there, couple of people, and that's about it. So Indian priority is very different from the American priority. The only issue is that America thinks that we would have behaved like Macron, we would have behaved like Starmer, but that's not the case. We cannot. Trump today is the king because he's sitting on a very strong economy. Donald Trump is calling the shots because Donald
has arrived, he's visible.
Yes, absolutely.
Donald Trump has arrived and is just walking into a car now. So how long from now are we expected to hear him speak, roughly about?
3 hours, because it was supposed to start at 7 p.m. It was supposed to be a 6:30 meet and greet, 7 o'clock India time. It was supposed to be the speech. Now I think entire thing has been delayed. Now he has landed in Davos, so it's not going to be immediately. I think they're going to go to the hotel. There are going to be some preparations, and I think the man has travelled continuously. You have to give it to him. I think he's one of the oldest presidents of the United States of America. And if you recall, the joke was that when he was fighting Biden, if you add the age of Trump and Biden, people were saying that it was 140 years plus. That was the combined age of Biden and Donald Trump. So, he's an old man, so he will take his time, but then there will be fireworks. There's no doubt about it. Definitely there's going to be fireworks in Davos, and Trump induced, and the shivers will be felt by Germany, France, Portugal, Spain, but most importantly by Denmark, because what the Trump has tweeted in social media is something no sitting president of the United States have done it after 1823, Monroe Doctrine. He's basically challenging the sovereignty. The underpinning of the rule-based order is sovereignty, and Trump is not respecting sovereignty. He is saying, when I talk about America first, in principle, it is at the cost of your sovereignty.
I mean, this is possibly the only US president, or let's say the only head of state in the world who's really irked possibly every country that he's dealt with.
Yes, he has irked every possible. Yes, he's irked every possible country, because one, he is unpredictable. Secondly, he lacks depth of history. Third, he sees things in black and white. A politician who is in power, and if he's in the habit of thinking things in black and white, then it's very, very dangerous. Because then, it's only in films you have this sense of moral clarity, because moral clarity is a very difficult thing. It's very, very difficult. It's part of novels, it's part of cinematic imagination, but in real life, the things exist in grey. They are never in black and white. But Trump, when he talks in black and white, is very, very problematic. Look at the way he treated India in last 1 year. I mean to say, look at Trump when he came to Motera, and the way he dealt with the Indian Prime Minister. Private conversations were out in public, so he knows no boundaries. He doesn't respect boundaries. So we have a problem. The only thing we can hope is that Trump becomes a lame duck president in case the Republicans lose Congress. But that's the internal dynamics of the American politics. But till the Congress is favorably predisposed towards Donald Trump, world will see a problem. World will definitely see a problem. And who knows that, he might go and, militarily take over Greenland. So do you think that China is going to attack Greenland? No. Who knows that China is going to take over Taiwan, and Trump will say it's not my war. And Ukraine is already, half, 20% occupied by Russia. They would say, give us 30%. So you will have another World War II like situation. West Germany, East Germany, West Ukraine and East Ukraine. So we are revisiting certain things, as the people say, the more things change, more they remain the same.
Well, interestingly, we understand that he's also set to host a session called the Board of Peace, which basically is a new body that's intended to oversee the end of Israel-Gaza war, and Donald Trump will be spearheading that.
Yes. There are a number of things which Trump has proposed, but the France is against it. Macron doesn't want to go. India could have been part of it, but there's a clause. You have to pay to be there. I mean, so which country is going to pay to be there? It's not a working lunch. It's not a lunch you pay for and you go.
And it's organized by the US, is it?
And it's organized by the United States of America, because Donald Trump is treating it like a real estate.
Yeah.
He's not treating it like a. What's the rubble that the war has created? 61 million tons of rubble. I mean, so I'm not even talking about the lives that have been destroyed. But you can't say the entire society supported Hamas. Yes, they could have been sympathetic towards Hamas. But does it allow Israel to make them homeless? No. It's simple. Power is the principle. The message they sent was, you attack us one more time, we'll make your entire area unlivable. So tomorrow they can do that in West Bank. But now, coming back to Davos, it's important because, the global leaders come there. Unfortunately, the attention has shifted from AI. Unfortunately, attention has shifted from other developmental issues, flight of capital, or the issue of de-dollarization, or the issue of supply chain networks, or the issue of how globalization is receding. The issue has gone back to what Trump thinks, what Trump will do. Will Trump break the unilateral order? A lot of people say that Trump has actually turned UN into a League of Nations. But then, well, if that has to be, then that shall be.
Well, so anything controversial that's to come up apart from Trump's speech? What more is expected in Davos, Karthike? Or is this itself going to be the only highlight?
I think there are a lot of highlights. In my closing answer to you, Nabila, only thing I would say is there is more to Davos than Trump. But the problem is that the American domination of economy, the military heft, has actually captured the agenda of Davos. Davos was not supposed to be about geopolitics. Davos was supposed to be about larger economic issues, consensus, but that is completely eluded. But Davos is also telling us one more thing, that there is not much of FDI that is taking place in India, but that's a conversation for another day. If you look at the tie-ups with the Indian chief ministers are doing in Davos, a majority of them is with the Indian companies, with the Indian industrialists. So that is also telling us our economic challenges, but perhaps that's for another day. Or else, we're going to shift the, the focus of the story. It's also a big challenge for India. There's a flight of capital and there is a lack of flow of FDI in India. So Davos is also reflecting that reality. But well, that's another conversation, Nabila.
Yeah. Well, you said, for those uninitiated, Davos, basically the World Economic Forum is basically a think tank, which is an event that's organized in Davos, and you have nearly 850 chairpersons of top business companies, leading companies in the world. You have 400 senior political figures who are attending, 60 head of states, and extensively year on year they discuss topics, be it economic inequality, climate change, technology, global cooperation, competition, conflict. So inevitably it does come down to a level of diplomacy as well, because you have that many head of states as well. You have big things said on that platform and media channels covering it extensively. So this could pass off as subtle diplomacy. Well, we're going to very keenly watch out for Donald Trump's speech in a few hours from now. I slip into a short break. We'll be right back with a lot more on the other side. Stay with us.
A tall cappuccino with caramel syrup and cardamom.
Sure. A tall cappuccino with caramel syrup and cardamom. Sure.
Tall alfacino with camel soup and cardamom mom. अदरक वाली चाय पिलाओ ना, कड़क।
सर, मलाई मार के देती हूँ।
लाइफ हो या इन्वेस्टिंग, भीड़ के पीछे मत भागो। म्यूचुअल फंड अपनाओ और खुद के हिसाब से इन्वेस्ट करो।
म्यूचुअल फंड निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। योजना से संबंधित सभी दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
पढ़ता है, खेलता है, झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है, आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया।
Being a chef, it's my priority to deliver taste in a plate with good presentation, unique innovation. You need to explore, you need to experiment.
You observe the people, make them happy, make them feel happy, and in the end you are smiling. That's the most important thing.
फाइनली हमारा घर।
तुम्हारी जिद का नतीजा।
मैं नहीं होती तो तुम्हारा क्या होता?
इनकी जिद ने आज इन्हें दिया एक परमानेंट एड्रेस टाटा कैपिटल होम लोन्स के साथ।
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News 9, English news as it should be.
Welcome back. We have some news coming in on Bangladesh refusing to participate in the upcoming ICC T20 World Cup if the match is held in India. Well, Bangladesh's participation in the upcoming 2026 ICC T20 World Cup is under serious threat, with the International Cricket Board, the ICC, now reportedly moving closer to replacing the team if they refuse to travel to India for its group stage matches. According to reports, the ICC has formally instructed the Bangladesh Cricket Board, the BCB, to convey a clear message to the Bangladesh government. Continued refusal to play matches in India could result in Bangladesh being replaced in the tournament. This warning has followed by a vote at an ICC board meeting itself, where a majority reportedly backed the option of replacing the team. The BCB has been given 1 day now to clarify its position and confirm whether Bangladesh will travel to India for its scheduled fixtures. Failure to do so could trigger Bangladesh's removal from Group C of the 2026 T20 World Cup. Scotland has emerged as the leading candidate to replace Bangladesh. Scotland, in fact, did not qualify directly, having finished behind the Netherlands and Italy at the European qualifiers, but ICC regulations allow for replacement teams under an exceptional circumstances that this has thrown up. It seems like the ICC has made a decision. Tensions has escalated after Bangladesh raised security concerns about playing in India, saying that their players may be in danger if they come to India. Now, these concerns gained further attention after IPL franchise Kolkata Knight Riders dropped Bangladesh fast bowler Mustafizur Rahman from their squad. So once IPL team Kolkata Knight Riders did that, it seems like Bangladesh decided not to play in India. They claim security reasons, but it could be very well tit for tat. Let me quickly bring in Kabir Naqvi joining us live from the newsroom for more on that. Kabir, ICC not backing off. ICC has very clearly said that it is safe. Indian conditions are safe for players of Bangladesh to play. But Bangladesh has been very adamant that they are not going to play in India, and now they could be replaced. They've been given 1 day.
Consensus that was drawn at the ICC board meeting as well. Hey, first and foremost, great news for Scotland. I mean, if this goes through, then after getting beaten by Netherlands, after getting beaten by Italy and of course Jersey in the playoffs, they might as well have a chance to play at the World Cup T20. It is going to happen at India. A great venue when it comes to cricket. I mean, what better place to play a World Cup than India? And when it comes to money and revenue, ICC and playing India, vice versa, whether it be on their home ground or them coming here on a tour to play here on on our home soil. It's great money for the sponsors. It's great money for the players as well. You rightly pointed out, it all started with Mustafizur Rahman, and then soon after Bangladesh said no more screening of the IPL that's going to take place here. Quite rich, coming from a country where mob lynchings are happening, and their own Hindu captain Liton Das, he broke the silence and said that all the players have been kept into the dark. We want to play. We do want to come out and play. There's so much of money that's on the line. Where will they earn their money from? Saying no to an ICC event for all these Bangladeshi players is a big no-no. And that's what's the problem. They're saying that their own Cricketers' Welfare Association is categorically saying that we do want to go out and play. But then again, the decision rests on the Bangladesh government. And now the ICC has pushed back, quite literally pushed the Bangladeshi national team on the back foot, saying if you don't come back with your decision in one day, let your government know there's going to be no tournament. Scotland will come and play it at your behest. At time and again, the players have come out and said, Liton Das, today we're learning about Shanto, their own Bangladesh batsman also, who said the same thing. We do want to go out and play there, but we've been kept in the dark. They do need their money. So much of their taxation comes from, Bangladeshi cricketers that are giving all of their tax money, about 25 to 30% to the Bangladeshi government. It's not like Bangladesh's own cricket board is doing them any favors. So, the decision rests on the government.
That they've ignored the reputation of their country and the reputation of their cricket board, their players. It's a fairly good team. Bangladesh as a cricket team, they are a fairly good team. So it's just sad that the politics has now gotten into this affair of sports.
Sad
Thanks
for all
very
those
much,
players.
Kabir, for joining us. A quick look at news coming in from Karnataka. The Karnataka State Cricket Association has now confirmed that IPL matches can once again be held at Bengaluru's Chinnaswamy Stadium, putting the spotlight now firmly on Royal Challengers Bengaluru and their decision on home venues for the upcoming season. KSCA President Venkatesh Prasad has said the stadium has received conditional clearance from the Karnataka government to host IPL and international matches after multiple rounds of discussions with state authorities. He's expressed confidence that full unconditional permission would follow soon. With that clearance in place, Venkatesh Prasad made it clear that the next move rests with Royal Challengers Bengaluru. He said that he hopes RCB will play all 7 of their IPL home matches at the Chinnaswamy Stadium, stressing that the franchise owes its growth and popularity to Bengaluru and its fiercely loyal fans. So now the ball is in RCB's court. Venkatesh Prasad. Let's bring in Kabir on that. Kabir, the issue now really carries a lot of weightage after what happened, the tragic June 4th stampede. 11 lives were lost, and now RCB finally decided that they won't play in Chinnaswamy Stadium. But a report says that the checks have been done and Chinnaswamy Stadium is fit for a game.
It's all happening too quick and fast, Nabila. I mean, from international cricket, now talking about domestic cricket here. The ball is in RCB's court. That's what the Cricket Association of the state of Karnataka says, but the decision finally rests on RCB as well. Now, needless to say, it's a no-brainer that RCB would want to continue to play at M. Chinnaswamy, considering that brand loyalty and their, voter base and, their fan base is exactly right there in Bengaluru. But given that no matches, international or domestic, have taken place ever since that Victory Day parade tragedy took place on the streets of Bengaluru. Now the ball is in the RCB's court, and if you remember, RCB put out their own statement that they were going to put a one-time cost investment for those AI analytic cameras that they're going to place all across the stadium for better crowd management. If that goes on, then it only signifies and tells us that RCB does want cricket to take place. If that does not happen, they'll have to shift their cricket elsewhere, maybe Mumbai.
We're hoping as a Bangalorean, I'm hoping that RCB gets its match back to Bangalore. Thanks very much, Kabir. That's all I have time for. Thank you. All right, a quick look with the union budget for financial year 26-27 set to be presented by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Feb 1st. All eyes are now set on the big policy decisions ahead. News 9 is launching a special budget 2026 poll, and your voice does matter and matters the most. Scan our QR code, take part, vote on the key questions that will shape India's economic future. Winners with the most correct predictions will win Amazon vouchers and have the opportunity to be featured on News 9 TV. Today we ask, should air purifiers and essential health equipment be made tax-free? Scan this QR code and vote yes or no. Thanks for tuning in.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News 9, English news as it should be.